Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing about the extension that has been provided to the commission that was constituted to probe the violence that has been happening in Manipur, the recent violence that has been happening in Manipur. Now, why I mentioned the recent one? Because of course the violence has been there since a long time, but the very recent one which is continuing is since May 2023. So since May 2023, Manipur is burning, Manipur is facing huge amount of violence because of the conflict of the two ethnic communities of the Kukis and the Metis. Now, to understand as to why this is happening, what should be done, and what has been the genesis of this particular violence, this particular recent violence, a commission was constituted which was supposed to present its report. However, the center has given an extension to that commission. Now, what does this mean? This means that, of course, you can say that it is probably getting delayed, but maybe there is a need for more time in order to understand and analyze a bit better, because the situation there is quite sensitive. So in this video, we'll understand about the background of the ethnic violence that is happening in Manipur and about the commission. What are its terms of reference? What is it that it's going to study? And is this the first time that this timeline has been extended? So on and so forth is what we are going to see here. So first, about the news, the union government, specifically the Home Ministry, because the internal security is the matter of the Ministry of Home Affairs. So here the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is led by our Honorable Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, what the ministry has done is it has extended the tenure of the Commission of Inquiry on Manipur violence. Now, the new deadline has been put for 2026. So, approximately 6 months have been extended. New deadline is 20th of May 2026. Now, this is not the first time that this extension has happened. In fact, it is the fourth extension that has taken place for this particular commission. Now, what issue it is going to be studying is related to the ethnic conflict, the internal security, governance, and the federal relations. How are these interrelated? Of course, there is ethnic conflict that is taking place between the Kukis and the Metis. In addition to that, it poses a threat to our internal security, and the governance is also an issue because the state of Manipur is under president's rule now, right? And of course the federal relation, because Manipur, the state of Manipur, wants support from the government of India, wants to end violence, right? So this is going to also be related to federal relations. Now let us understand the background of the Manipur violence. Background was triggered by the recent violence was triggered by the protests by Kuki-Zo tribes. Against whom? Against the Manipur High Court's recommendation to put the Metis in the scheduled tribe status. Yes, so the Manipur High Court had given a judgment through which the Metis would be put under the scheduled tribes of India. Now, to protest against that decision, it led to the triggering of the violence between the Kukis and the Metis. Now, it is an ethnic violence, of course, because this is about the ethnicity. Now, the Metis generally reside in the valley region, whereas the Kuki groups are in the hill districts of Manipur. So, since then, since May 2023, so this is ongoing. This is ongoing for over 2.5 years now. Since then, there have been approximately 260 deaths. Now, even a single death cannot be, priced or valued, or, we cannot even compensate for one single death. And here we are talking about 260 deaths that have taken place. And of course, thousands have been displaced and become homeless. So this is the magnitude of this violence. To understand as to what was the genesis of this violence and to analyze the situation and to come up with the future course of action, a commission had been constituted on 4th June 2023 under the Commissions of Inquiry Act of 1952. The Manipur government itself had recommended this, and purpose, as I mentioned, to inquire into the causes and associated factors of the violence. Now, if you talk about the composition of commission, important for your prelims perspective, Justice Chairperson Justice Ajay Lamba, former Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court is there. If you talk about, he is the former Chief Justice. So this is one single person, Ajay Lamba, who is, it's basically a 3-person committee. One is Justice Ajay Lamba, who has been the former Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court, and then there are 2 members. One is a retired IAS officer and another is a retired IPS officer. Nature of this commission is, of course, judicial administrative hybrid inquiry body. That means administrative whereas judicial roles have been given to this particular commission. Now let us understand the terms of reference, means the agenda that has been given to this commission. So the agenda is to basically identify the sequence of events that led to the violence, identify the causes and the spread of riots, identify the lapses or dereliction of duty by authorities, were there any lapses, dereliction of any government authority, for example, adequacy of preventive and control measures, whatever preventive control measures were taken, were they adequate or not, and complaints by individuals and associations. Also look into the complaints that have been made by the individuals and associations. Now let us look at the timeline of extensions. So initially when it was constituted, it had been given a timeline of 6 months from the first sitting date. However, as mentioned previously, it has been extended 4 times. For the first time when it got extended, it was extended up to 13th September 2024, then again 3rd December 24, 20th May 25, and then the latest extension is going to extend it to 20th May 2026. So you can see that this is going on for over 2 years now. So we do understand that sensitivity has to be adhered to over here, but again, too much of delay should not be the way forward. Maybe the government is waiting for things to calm down, but the violence is erupting here and there, as a result of which what could happen is you give a proper report, maybe the government do not disclose it, but then again that will create a hue and cry. So it's not an easy situation for the government also. However, things need to really speed up so that we understand the causes, we understand the degree of the degree of protection, or you can say degree of actions taken to calm the situation down. We'll understand how good or bad they were so that we can improve on that and make the situation better. Now, the present administrative situation is what in Manipur. Of course, as I mentioned, there is a precedence rule that has been imposed since 13th of February 2025, and the governor, because now the governor will be the one who is going to have a lot of say now as the precedence rule is imposed. So Ajay Kumar Bhalla is the governor. This precedent rule came into force from 13th February because on 9th of February 2025, the then Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh, had resigned, subsequent to which since 13th February 2025 onwards, there has been precedence rule. What is the current focus of the government? The current focus of the government of India to get peace is, first focus is stakeholder consultations. Who all are the stakeholders? They need to be consulted, of course. Whatever decision you might be going to take, there needs to be consultation of all the stakeholders, proper consensus need to be developed, common grounds need to be arrived at in order to take any decision and move forward. We cannot have a decision which favors one side. Presumably, the government would not be trying to be biased against anyone, but the communities might perceive it to be favoring one and biased against another, as a result of which talking to the having a conversation with the stakeholders, developing consensus is going to be really very important to restore law, order and normalcy in the state of Manipur. Thank you.